Hi class, this is Professor Harmony Kim. In the past 2 weeks, you've studied 5 khandhas and Buddhist meditation. This week, you will study each component of 5 khandha in the context of Buddhist meditation. As a brief review, 5 khandhas compose the living organism and manifest themselves in cognitive process. There are 5 components to make up 5 khandha: Rupa, Vedana, Sanna, Samkhara, and Vinnana. These 5 constituents can be categorized into Nama and Rupa. Nama represent mental faculty and Rupa represent form or physical entity. I told you just before the 5 khandha can be categorized into Nama and Rupa. Rice Davis addresses that 5 khandha are formed by later insertion from body, kaya, and Vinnana, such as mental state. If 5 khandhas are formed from 2 factors such as body and Vinnana, why the 2 entities such as Nama and Rupa develop into 5 rather than 3 or 4 or 6 or 7? Rice Davis mentions that 5 comprehensive units in Indian thought are derived from the formation of human hand. Human has 5 fingers, therefore 5 khandhas explain humans from the mental and physical perspective. How about looking into the development of 5 khandha in a different angle, in a way that the increment might relate to meditation? If so, what kind of characteristics of 5 khandha can explain the contents of meditation? So, let's investigate the meaning of each constituent of 5 khandha in the context of meditation, especially focus on nama, that is, mental factors. Let's look at the Vedana, which is one component in nama. In the Chachaka Sutta and Madhupindika Sutta, when the eye and form contact, eye consciousness arises, and the feeling follows based on the contact as the condition. Vedana can be translated into feeling, whereas the Chachaka Sutta classifies the 6 kinds of Vedana, 6 kinds of feeling, upon the 6 sensory system. The Satipatthana Sutta enumerates the 6 kinds of feeling as of the 3 kinds, which are pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. The Vedana Samyutta explains 108 kinds of Vedana. These indicate variety of human feelings depending upon individual's mental status. There is a discrimination going on at the stage of Vedana for its classification, which results in one final Vedana. Therefore, Vedana is more involved in the process than a mere sensory event. In the Chachaka Sutta, Vedana is followed by Tanha. Tanha means craving, rather than Sanna and Samkhara as in the cognitive process based on the 5 khandhas. The main idea of the Chachaka Sutta suggests putting to an end of wrong view, such as this is mine, this I am, this is myself, Therefore, Sanya and Samkara can be left out from utterance, although they should be accompanied with Vedana. Some of meditation practice encourages being involved in neutral affective mode rather than pleasant or unpleasant mode. Therefore, the finalized one of a feeling can reflect the mental status along the path of cognitive process. In the Visuddhimagga, happy feeling stands for the first jhana up to the third jhana as characteristic of consciousness, and then replaced to the neural feeling in the fourth jhana. In other words, neither unpleasant nor pleasant must be aroused when the fourth jhana is attained. Let's think about Sanya. The relationship among Vedana, Sanya, and Vinnana from the Mahavedana Sutta is described like this. Vedana, Sanya, and Vinnana, these states are conjoined, not disjoined, and it is impossible to separate each of these states from the others in order to describe the difference between them. This ambiguity of distinction between Sanya and Vinnana renders their translation to perception by extending their meanings. But Sanya does not have to be understood as perception by illustrating the passages from the Kanda Samyutta and Madhupinduka Sutta. Rather, Sanya has a discriminatory ability, which Vinnana also include, but they differ in terms of the extent of discrimination. The simile to explain the difference between Sanya and Vinnana is addressed such that the child has only Sanya of the coin, in other words, a notion of the coin. So the child does not know their worth. The villager has understanding Vinnana. Therefore, he knows if he gets the right change for his purchase. But the money changer has insight Panya. Therefore, he has a mastery of science and is sharp when it comes to coin. As such, Sanya has a difference from Vinnana in terms of more detailed and processed discrimination. One of the meaning of Sanya from Pali dictionary is sign or mark, M-A-R-K. The term Sanya designates the mental act of apprehending X to be a case of X. Sanya is the taking up, the making, and the remembering of the object's distinctive marks, M-A-R-K, or signal is also one of different meaning of the word Sanya itself. In addition to the identificatory role of Sanya, Sanya means abstract idea regardless of sensory experience, especially resulted from the meditation attainment. In the Apanaka Sutta, there's a passage that the gods of the immaterial realms who consist of Sanya. And Samyutta Nikaya describes that the meditation sphere of the Rupa jhana and the first three arupa jhana are all related to sanya. Even the first arupa jhana requires sanya for identifying liberation, which indicates that sanya role as a tool to identify the liberation. So far, we studied Vedana and Sanya. The next mental constituent is Samkhara. Samkhara implies the volitional action. Sankhara only can activate with volition. The extent of volition influences the human experience by way of body, speech, and mind, which implies that Samkhara rules as a determinant factor for the future existence according to the degree of morality. The close connection to the ethical aspect by Samkhara is well described in the Kukuravatika Sutta in a way that the deed with activities of harmless body, speech, and mind effects on reborn in the harmless world. However, the deed with activities of harmful body, speech, and mind reborn in the hell. Samkhara latently influences on goodness or badness, which can further influence the following conditions, even including the next life. Therefore, Sankhara implies free will, and this intention impacts on human samsaric experience by virtue of moral aspect. What is the significance regarding the relation of Samkhara to morality? Morality in Pali word sila. Sila is required for a means of overcoming the difficulty of practicing meditation. Otherwise, the impediment to reach nirvana is very high. How does sila, morality, and panya, wisdom, interrelate by way of meditation? The passage from the Sonadanda Sutta says that wisdom is purified by morality and morality is purified by wisdom. Where one is, the other is. So sila is purified by panya and panya is purified by sila. This passage indicates the intimate relation between sila and panya. Richard Gombrich addresses the complementary relation between sila and panya from Vedic and Upanishadic origin, and that investigation of the former, such as sila, was the study of karma kanda, and investigation of the latter, which is panya, was the study of the jhana kanda. The karma kanda means section on works of which the path in accompanied with knowledge achieve the liberation. In order to attain the knowledge panya, one must practice the meditation, and in this context, the karma is equivalent to the intention, which stands for samkhara. Therefore, Buddhist philosophy declares that good karma, which is equal to good intention, which is equal to purification of the mind, equal to spiritual progress, that is, progress toward nirvana. So, sankhara represents its relation to the ethical aspect with free will. The passage of the Mahavedana Sutta says that when this body is bereft of three states, such as vitality, heat, and Vinnana, consciousness, it is then discarded and forsaken, left lying senseless like a log. Considered that Vinnana requires all the time, how Vinnana interrelates with the rest four factors of the five khandha for human experience. What does Vinnana do while Vedana and Sanna are operating? Is Vinnana really a separate entity from Vedana and Sanna? Nevertheless, is Vinnana required all the time? For preaching the right view against the wrong view in the Apanaka Sutta, there is a saying that I might reappear after death among the gods of the fine material realm who consist of mind. In this case, mind, translated in Pali, manas. And Apanaka Sutta keeps saying that I might reappear among the gods of the immaterial realm who consist of sanya, perception. Given that immaterial realm is the sphere in which an enlightened belong to, there can be an impression that Vinnana is represented in the sensuous plane, plane, or fine material plane, whereas sanya might be designated in immaterial plane. In Buddhist cosmos, there are three planes. One is sensuous, another is fine material plane, and the last plane is immaterial plane. Because the mental status is transformed throughout these three planes, so the different term can be engaged to describe its qualitative aspect. In other words, the four kinds of mental khandha, that is nama, can be represented by Vinnana, and the characteristic of Vinnana can be changed by degree of the meditation attainment in accompanying with different name. What is the routine mode of cognitive process by way of five khandha? The Buddhist analysis of a sensory process is mapped as the sequence of rupa, move to feeling, vedana, move to sanya, perception, progress to samkara, volition, progress to vinyana. This routine mode recognizes surrounding phenomena in a general mode. This successive cognitive process on a daily basis deepens into the building of a habit. Some persons' cognitive process starting from rupa jump to sanya. Maybe some persons' cognitive process starting from rupa jumping to samkara. So a certain pattern of mental process underlies individual personality. But the sequence of this process takes place in routine mode, and it requires a great effort to change the habitual tendency. Our cognitive scheme operates rapidly, and by default, therefore, people find themselves in the stream of built-in thought process. This table shows the corresponding steps of cognitive processes throughout several Buddhist sutras. The analysis of a sensory process in early Buddhist text is mapped, M-A-P-P-E-D, from the Madhupindika Sutra, Mahasatipatthana Sutra, Abhidhammatta Sangaha, and Chachaka Sutra. The sequence of cognitive progression starts from the I context is object, therefore I consciousness arises. I consciousness develops into feeling under the condition of eye contact, then further develop into Sanna and Samkhara. The mental progress shows a little bit different attribute at the stage of Samkhara. However, overall processes can be classified and aligned under each constituent of the five khandha. So, it can state that ordinary cognitive process can progress in the sequence of Rupa, Vedana, then Sanna, then Samkhara in routine mode. I mentioned that the cognitive progress can be altered by Buddhist meditation. If so, what is the rationale behind the alteration of cognitive progress? Provided that ordinary cognitive process progresses from Vedana to Sanna to Samkhara, the more unwholesome cognitive characters closely account for the five hindrances. In other words, five hindrances are sloth and torpor, doubt, ill will, distraction, and desire, which can be categorized under Samkhara. In meditation practice, remove distracted negative mental activities and shortening the cognitive process by concentrating on meditation subject. In Mahavedana Sutta, there is a description of meditative state as a bhikkhu whose faculties are clear and cessation of Vedana and Sanna. Therefore, it can be regarded that cognitive process is truncated and restricted the scope of thought process from Samkhara to Sanna, from Sanna to Vedana, from Vedana to Rupa. Before we apply five khandhas to Buddhist meditation practice, let's briefly review each component of five khandha in relation to meditation. First, Vedana, subtle meaning based on meditation is happy feeling can arise in the first jhana up to third jhana, and neutral feeling can arise in fourth jhana. So, the subtle meaning of Vedana can imply the jhana state attained through the meditation practice. For Sanna, there is a statement in Apanaka Sutta, I might reappear among the gods of the fine material realm who consist of Sanna. In Samyutta Nikaya, there is a description that meditative levels of the Rupa jhana are expressed by Sanna. In case of Samkhara, the passage from the Sonadanda Sutta says that Panya is purified by Sila and Sila is purified by Panya. In order to attain knowledge, one must practice meditation, and Sila is equivalent to the intention, that is Samkhara. For Vinnana, Vinnana as a chitta, chitta means present moment. So Vinnana as a chitta implies spiritual progress of a mental quality from moment by moment, and it is closely related to the meditation state of mind. Let's interpret the 5 khandhas by connecting the cognitive stages in relation to meditation. You've studied 2 kinds of meditation last week. 2 types of meditation, that is samatha meditation and vipassana meditation. Samatha meditation develops peaceful mind first, so the nama aspect of human experience is focused. Because emotional aspect of human mind can transform into quietude. As an example of samatha meditation practice, you've studied Kanariya Metta Sutta. Kanariya Metta Sutta, another word, loving kindness discourse, was spoken by the Buddha himself. The Metta Sutta is one instance exemplifying samatha method by which the practitioners can overcome the 5 hindrances. Metta Sutta explains systematic approach of sequential access of object projecting the thought of loving kindness. It starts with myself visualized with a happy mind and conceptualize that may I be free from hostility, free from affliction, free from distress, may I live happily. Replacing the object with revered person, then with neutral person, then hostile person. At that last stage of practice, mind is inspired with the same degree of metta, loving kindness, equally to everyone. Practicing metta is not limited to personal level, but extends to impersonal mode. The practice projects of metta from family, neighbor, country, further all continent. Extending metta from human to all beings, radiating 10 directions. And you've already studied 11 kinds of advantages followed by metta practice. How metta meditation modulates cognitive process. Mental activity such as conceptualizing happy self, replacing the subject, creating happy mental state for oneself and others. This corresponds to the stage of Vinnana and Samkhara with volitional effort. Practitioners engage in volitional effort by cultivating morality. When metta meditation leads the practitioner to go beyond discrimination upon people, meditation attainment is identified by Sanna. Sanna has identificatory function. Then the practice reaches the state equivalent to the pleasant or neutral mode, which is represented by Vedana. The degree of meditation goes deeper at the stage of rupa. In the course of meditation practice, the alteration of cognitive process is in opposing order to the ordinary cognitive process, and also shortening procedure of cognitive stream in opposite way of routine mode. Metta meditation conceptualizes happy self, which corresponds to the stage of Vinnana and Samkhara. The practice reaches to the state of fulfilled metta, which is equivalent to the pleasant or neutral mode of Vedana. In Mahavedala Sutta, there is a passage that a pig whose faculties become exceptionally clear, who has entered upon the cessation of Vedana and Sanna. Therefore, meditation modulates a routine thought process in a retrospective mode. Meditation removes the distracted mental activities and shortens the cognitive process by concentrating on certain meditative subject. Here is a summary. Based on the five khandha, overall cognitive process is aligned with several Buddhist sutras and they show similar mode with one another. Five khandhas is interpreted in relation to meditation and transformation of ordinary cognitive process can take place by way of meditation. Investigating specific characteristics of each component of the five khandhas can support the validity of this interpretation on the meditation. In the context of Buddhist meditation, the sequence of cognitive process in five khandhas is in reverse order, resulting in shortened cognitive stream. Here is the summary table. Modification of a cognitive process through meditation shows a certain pattern of sequential order opposite to ordinary cognitive process. So when you look at ordinary state, the cognitive process starts from rupa, progress to Vedana, to Sanna, to Sankhara, to Vinnana. But in meditative state, the cognitive process is opposite order. Concentration on meditative subject shorten the cognitive stream in opposite way from the routine mode. Quiz 1. If there are three kinds of Vedana, which of the following is not representing Vedana? Quiz 2. Not quiz 3, this is a typo. Quiz 2. What is the sequence of the ordinary cognitive state in the five khandha? So, you can find answer of these two questions from the lecture video. As a routine process, you need to submit the quiz answers to my email address, including your email address. Please write down course code BMN 520 with the date. Please do not send attachment file to me. Just use main text body of email and you write down your official name, last name, comma followed by first name. Then you write down two quiz answers in the main text body. And the due of this assignment is February 27th because next Monday is official holiday. So you will not have a lecture next Monday. And another lecture will be held on February 28th. So you can submit this assignment until 27th of February, which is a Sunday. So February 20th is typo. The due of this assignment is February 27th, Sunday. This is the end of lecture.